Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the partial lunar eclipse we have happening on the 28th of October 2023. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. This eclipse is also a full moon in Taurus, and eclipses are really significant as far as the astrology is concerned because it takes the new moon or the full moon, which creates its own type of energy, and it interrupts that process and adds its own kind of slant on things, its own kind of content. And the energy of an eclipse can be felt for about 6 months. It lingers on. So it's really important to understand what positives these eclipses offer to us and where the potential negatives are so we can avoid those. So this full moon in Taurus eclipse happens at 8:23 in the evening, and that's based on Central European time. The eclipse itself will be viewable from Europe and Africa. And it's an interesting one because the sun, the earth, and the moon, they don't totally line up. So it's not a full eclipse, it's a partial eclipse. But the positioning to me is still really interesting. We've got the sun doing its thing and it's lighting everything up. It hits the earth and the earth then casts a shadow on the other side. And the moon passes through that shadow. So it's really interesting to me just in terms of the visuals because the moon represents your heart and your feelings and what's going on for you internally. Here it's at 4 degrees in Taurus. So what's comfortable is feeling a sense of control and having a sense that if I apply myself to this, I can take charge of it and I can adapt it and I can make it my own, right? So that's very much about my power, my strength, my ability. And it's a full moon, so it's really a celebration. It's kind of like, this is what I'm doing. So for the moon to go through that shadow then, I feel is going to be somewhat overwhelming, and it could feel like it minimizes the self, and it kind of puts a lot of pressure on that ability to take charge of things. So it goes through the shadow and it's like I was having such a good time and everything was running smoothly, and now suddenly I'm forced to deal with external circumstances that are coming my way. I'm looking at things which are completely outside of my control, and it makes me feel like there's just too much. My heart was in the right place, my head was in the right place, I was ready to go, and things kind of got away from me, or I got a sense that there was just too much and I couldn't do it all at once. So that's kind of important and interesting to me because the whole axis of Taurus and Scorpio is about taking charge of things and using your strength to do that. So Scorpio is about taking charge of the emotional situation and relationships and anything that connects you. And Taurus is your connection with the physical world and what you do in the world to create certain circumstances, what you manifest, right? So those two things are very much under your kind of control. You say what goes, what you're feeling, and what you're going to do about those feelings. So for this external shadow to come in then, it's almost like, even though I feel very capable most of the time, here during this eclipse, I'm so enthusiastic, but it just seems like the list of things to do is getting out of control, and it leaves me feeling somewhat insecure or rattled, or it makes me question, how can I take charge of things when on this day things got away from me? So that's the first thing to look at. I think there may be a sense that life is piling up. And rather than feeling like, oh, I'm spinning out and I've lost charge of this whole thing, I think the first thing is to really practice good self-care and to say, you know what, I am motivated and I want to get things done, but there are only 24 hours in a day and there's only so much reasonably I can achieve in one day, right? So the full moon and the new moon, you feel the influence of that usually for 3 days. So this happens on the 28th. So I would say you start to feel this sense of, oh, it's a bit much, and if I can't control it, then I'm not interested at all. You know, that kind of extreme response is possible. You'll feel that on the 27th, 28th, and 29th of October. But then because it is an eclipse, it means that, for the next 6 months or so, you do have the ability, but it's important for you to prioritize and to keep it very simple so that you do not get overwhelmed and that you then become apathetic about the situation or you turn your back on it, because it's like, well, if I don't have a say, if I can't influence the outcome here, what am I doing? Then it no longer interests me. So 1 or 2 really important goals that you want to change, that resonate with you now. during this shadow period and the eclipse, you'll be able to identify what that is, and then you can make plans to really see that grow and to devote yourself to it over the next few months. And the key is to identify what's happening via the Sun in Scorpio, getting to the root cause, and then making plans for the future so that you don't get distracted and that things are manageable. So that's the key thing, I think, here, is to break things down into manageable chunks. In terms of the chart itself, we've got the rising, the ascendant in Cancer at 11 degrees. The rising is the default setting, and that's really positive because Cancer is the fourth sign in the zodiac. It's a cardinal sign, so it does take control of things, and it says it's my job or it's my pleasure to take care of other things, other people, the world, anything that is outside of myself. At 11 degrees, it's the master number of service. So think of it as a chef or as a nurse or as a nutritionist or as a massage therapist, someone who's able to create a sense of comfort and safety in home. And you have that in this chart. So the whole thing about self-care and not letting yourself be overwhelmed and then panicked as a result, you're able to be of service to yourself and to say, listen, your heart is in the right place, but just streamline things so that so you don't feel like you're flailing around all over the place and running around doing this and this and this. So you have your number one and number two priorities. The Sun, then, I mentioned, is at 5 degrees in Scorpio. And Mercury, the communication planet, sits 5 degrees away from it. So Mercury is about your perspective and ideas and the way you get your point across. At 10 degrees in Scorpio, it very much focuses on the importance of your feelings in a situation. And that, again, is very telling because, if I think that my feeling and my perspective on something is the be all and end all, then if things don't go the way I want, of course I'm going to be upset. If everyone else is wrong and I've got the best idea and my idea isn't manifested, then something's gone awry. So immediately with that, look at giving away some control, considering other people's point of view, their input, their best way of thinking. And rather than immediately going with, no, we're doing it my way, take a moment to assess the suggestion or the idea that's come externally and see how you can work with that instead of immediately saying, it didn't stem from me, so I'm not interested. I'm saying that because I think the default setting is really about me, my world, and what I want to create. And often, other people can contribute something or have input, or through a conversation, it can spark something that's even better and even more interesting, and you can manifest that then and be happier with the outcome. So I would say the thing to watch out for is to deliberately open up to other people and not shut the gates out of hand. So with Mercury in Scorpio as well, it's very intuitive. It's very able to connect to the higher realms. It's healing, it's nurturing, it's musical. So all of those things just in a much more quiet, serene way. With the Sun and Mercury in Scorpio, you're able to enjoy all of those things that speak to you on a soul level. If certain music soothes you, or if you like to do guided meditations, or you want to compose music, it's about expressing your feelings. And if you want a little bit of quiet time to do that, this eclipse works nicely for that during the 3-day period of the full moon, but also beyond. And with that said, if you are someone who works creatively and life gets very busy, this is a great opportunity to learn how to make that quiet space for yourself and how to structure that into every day of your life, and to recognize that this is an important part of my day if I'm going to be productive in the area that I want to be. We also have Mars in Scorpio. Mars is at 11 degrees in Scorpio. Mars is ambition and drive. It's the red planet of power. At 11 degrees, Mars being interested in being of service is a rare thing. Mars is really more interested in these are my desires and how do I fulfill them. This is, my desire is to help other people, to help them identify what the issue is so that they can transform it and free themselves of it and get better. So it's kind of interesting. The lesson, I think, of this eclipse is, especially if you feel overwhelmed, that you don't always need to feel in total control to get things done. That sometimes it's okay to accept and to go with the flow and to see how life and other people surprise you. And that's the key of this eclipse, I feel, that you don't have to control absolutely every little detail. You work hard, you've done enough for now. Let the universe take over a little bit and kind of surf you to a different place where you will have different experiences. Yeah. So open up to other people. Try and let go of control as much as you can. And I think you'll be surprised that you are rewarded in some way, whether it's a nice conversation with someone who's thrilled that you helped them, or it's identifying that I need kind of peace and quiet to write my music. It's that recognition of this is my personal process. If I make that more solid in my everyday life, then I'm going to have the outcome that I'm looking for. So it's emotional understanding and major clarity, and then the practical willingness to arrange things so that they suit you. We also have Ceres in Scorpio. Ceres is at 18 degrees in Scorpio. So the real wealth, the treasure of the day and the eclipse is really about completing this inner cycle of, I don't know what I want, I don't know what I like, I don't know what I'm doing, but today I do. It's crystal clear. So a lot of people, especially with water signs, are often very focused on helping other people and taking care of their needs. And not all the time, but sometimes they can forget about their own needs amongst all of that, and then just get into a routine where they're constantly helping other people. This is the kind of moment in terms of the astrology where the universe says, hey, hang on a minute, stop for a second, pay attention to what you're doing, question whether that's what you want to be doing or continue to be doing, and make changes if things aren't quite right. So it's like an astrological wake-up call, and it's really nice that we have these things happen, because life does get busy and we all just, go with whatever works at times. And then the universe does kind of intervene and say, hey, actually, maybe this isn't the right way, consider it at least, and then make a new decision, choose again. So then the sun opposes the moon. The moon is at 4 degrees in Taurus. So the moon is your feelings, it's what's happening internally. In Taurus, it connects you to the physical world. You're going to have strong feelings about what's going on in your life. And what's really near and dear to your heart is using the security you've already built to help other people. And it's getting to that place of security. I want to build a life where I can feel comfortable and I'm not constantly panicking, that the bailiffs are going to knock on the door, things like that. So you may think, I don't want to navel gaze and dig around in my own feelings. I'd rather go out and have fun and do something, because I don't want to sit here and kind of self-analyze all day. It's actually not navel gazing, because there's a point and a reason to this. The understanding and clarity you gain during this eclipse is really the blueprint of the kind of future you want to build. So I would use this and the next 6 months to say, okay, I'm not completely satisfied in the way my life looks right now. I hear that via my inner voice, my conscience, my gut. So I'm going to be of service to myself and create a nice foundation in my life so that I don't have to be stressed all the time. And then we've got Jupiter next to the moon, which is really interesting because Jupiter is the planet of good luck and good fortune. Again, it's at 11 degrees in Taurus. So I want to be of service. I want to do that in a practical way. So how can we be of service in a practical way? I can meet up with another person. I can build something that someone else can live in. I can come up with a wonderful idea or a method that then is picked up by thousands or millions of other people and they all benefit. But the key is I need to get this out of myself in some sort of practical way so that other people can engage with it and then actually benefit from it. And that's the wonderful thing of this Scorpio-Taurus axis, is that your heart and your head, or the dream world and the practical step world, they really meet, and it becomes very clear on what to do about your feelings. So you're not in limbo at all. The penny really drops. This is what I want, and these are the things I'm going to have to do in order to manifest that, to create it. So the moon and Jupiter are 7 degrees apart. 7 in numerology is the mind and creativity. So really allow yourself to visualize what the perfect life could look like. I've done that for myself, and I've actually been surprised at what I thought the ideal life would look like. And if I hadn't taken those moments that some people may think are frivolous and unimportant and self-indulgent, but to me they've been really meaningful because I've tried to visualize this amazing future life, and then I have, and it's like, really, that's what you want? So it saved me personally a lot of time and energy by kind of playing the tape forward like that and putting myself in a position where I feel like I have that life and checking in with myself of whether that even is what I want. It's all very complicated. So you can cut all the complex stuff and really get to the simple truth of what you want and use your creativity then to move forward with that. We also have the South Node and the North Node in Libra and in Aries on this day during the eclipse. So the North Node is at 24 degrees in Aries, and it's really, the point of this is to find your own way forward, to find your own strength in this whole process, and to have a period of independence where you're building something and where you're working towards something that you care about and that you want to have within your control. And that's how you can be of service. So anyone who's completely focused on other people, the likelihood is that you're going to be included on that list for the very first time or again. And people who are kind of really invested in their own path and journey, but you haven't got all the information and things haven't been going as quickly as you want, this is really a time where, think of a meeting. You've got the architect, you've got the engineer, you've got the people who are paying for the project, you've got the company owner. They all sit down and they say, this is how we're going to build the bridge. That's what this is. Crystal clarity, planning, and then getting it done. I love it. We also have, let's see, we have the moon forming some relationships with other things in the chart. If you look at the wheel in the center, you've got all these blue and red lines. Those are called aspect patterns, and they connect the planets and luminaries to other planets and asteroids. So the moon is in Taurus and it trines Black Moon Lilith at 2 degrees in Virgo. So Black Moon Lilith at 2 degrees in Virgo may make you somewhat shy sharing your ideas because you don't want to be criticized. My take on that is it's better to open yourself up to criticism on this day than not to double check your own ideas, because the feedback you get from other people is very likely to be helpful and to make the whole thing even better. So if you don't like criticism so much, try and tolerate it today. It's really productive and it gets you somewhere. So it's constructive criticism. The moon then also forms a sesqui square with Venus at 18 degrees in Virgo. And that's really nice because Venus in Virgo, I always see as the head nurse, the woman who's very organized and who's running the whole shop and who knows what's best. So Venus is the planet of love and beauty and creativity. Virgo is the nurse, or it can be associated with the nurse. So I love to organize things and to feel solid in my life because I'm on top of things, so I know what's going to happen. And it's at 18 degrees. 1 and 8 is 9. In numerology, that's spirituality and completion. So again, if I love myself and if I want to take care of myself, then my life has got to be somewhat organized. I mean, if you're working and your whole desk is a mess, it would be more nurturing for you to take the time to clean that desk and then to work from a nice organized space, because it would make the whole thing easier. And that's what this is. Venus in Virgo allows you to organize your life and to say, I don't want this to be so messy. I want it to be nice and solid and to feel like I'm in control. How are we going to set about doing that? So it's an end of not understanding. It's the arrival of clarity, the beginning of clarity. And it looks really good for the next 6 months for anyone who wants to build something of their own that matches to their feelings internally. The moon then also, it opposes the sun. No, that's it. So it just forms a trine with Black Moon Lilith, and that's sesqui square with Venus in Virgo. So we've got a lot going on, but the fact that the moon is so uncomplicated, the only thing that could hold you back is fear of perfectionism. And if I don't get it right 100% immediately first try, then I'm not doing it. If you have that going on, that's the thing to fight on this day. It's better to make mistakes, and to open up and to explore a bit than to get it right. The point of this is that you don't get it all right, that you look at what is, you throw all the ideas up in the air so you can revisit them. It's not about having it perfect. It's about making it messy first so that you can create order and create perfection as such from that process. But what's interesting is if you kind of zoom out from the chart a little bit, you've got Black Moon, Lilith, Venus, South Node, the Sun, Mercury, Mars, and Ceres at the bottom half of the chart. And then you've got all the other things on the top half. And houses 12, 1, and 2 are empty, and house 6 and 8 are empty. So to me, it looks like a butterfly. We've got the little head by the descendant in Capricorn, the part of Fortune and Pluto. And then we've got the wings in the 9th and 10th, no, in the 10th and 11th houses, and then the other wing in the 4th and 5th houses. So it's duality, it's balance, it's left and right. Right is your own vision and your own sense of this is what I feel and I'm certain about it and I feel it, therefore it's valuable. I'm not just, a robot who never feels anything. I'm going to listen to what I'm feeling. And then the other wing, on the other half, is all the public things that can be achieved by listening to your feelings. So you can say it as wings or one hand washes the other. It's when the butterfly operates as one singular unit, that's when it flies and enchants all of us when we see it, right? So it's about one, getting clear on your feelings and what's important to you, intending to build those things in earnest in a practical way, and to lead the way by saying, I'm going to transform my existing circumstances. I feel like this is the nicest thing I can do for myself right now. This is how I can truly be of service by allowing the changes that want to come in and to work with them. And the reason I'm saying that is the part of Fortune and Pluto are what I described as the head. Part of Fortune is a thing that's manually worked out. That's at 11 degrees in Capricorn. So work towards being of service to you, not just other people. And then Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, and it's the planet of transformation and change, the phoenix rising from the ashes. It's at 27 degrees, so 9, in Capricorn, the sign of the worker. So the work that you've done and the way your life looks right now, that's all in the past. It's turned out the way it has because of decisions you've made back then. This is a chance to ask yourself, what kind of butterfly do I want to be in future? And then listening to what comes up as a result of that question and saying, okay, thank you for the info. I'm going to now work with it. And it's really 1, 2, 3. This is a start of a whole new chapter of your life. And it's really down to you how you want that chapter to look. If you again look at the center of the wheel, we have some major aspect patterns. So we have 3 trines here, which combine to create a big blue triangle, which is known as a grand trine, and that's an area of major talent. It connects the rising in Cancer with the midheaven in Pisces, and then the Sun and Mercury and Mars in Scorpio. So the big talent is your ability to actually feel and identify through your feelings, so to be an emotional, intuitive detective, and then to nurture yourself through those feelings and to give yourself permission and the chance. You're like holding the hand of your own inner child and saying, this is the dream, you want to go to the beach, let's make it happen. So the dream is, I want to start my own business. You're there for yourself and it's like, okay, we've never done that before, but let's learn how to start a business. We're going to make it happen for you. So it's about you being friends with yourself and saying, you have a dream, I'm going to make it happen for you because I love you that much. And that's a talent as far as I'm concerned. Then we have another grand trine, which doesn't quite fit because it's one of the sides is 10 degrees off. It connects Venus in Virgo with the part of Fortune in Capricorn, and then Jupiter in Taurus, and 10 degrees away from it, Uranus in Taurus. So it's not quite a grand trine, but I still count it. And this is the earthy talent to, as such, close the gap, and to close the gap by listening to your own dreams and saying, this is what I'm going to insert into the physical world. And then finally, if you look at these 2 things, the one grand trine, the second almost grand trine, they combine to create a 6-sided star, almost 5-sided star, which is known as a Star of David. And when a Star of David appears in astrology, one triangle points up to the higher realm. So it's me asking the question, hey universe, what am I supposed to be doing? then the other triangle pointing down is the universe actually responding and saying, thank you for the question, here's your answer. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And that's what this eclipse gives you access to. It's perfect balance and the duality of the butterfly, remember, of the higher realms and the physical world, working nicely in tandem so that you can get clear on your stuff and how you're going to translate that into the physical world so that they, same way as they exist in the macrocosm, they start to exist in a microcosm in your life. This is work that stems from my feeling of what I think is important. Anything else? Let's see. We have a T-square, which is just some unresolved friction. If the question is, do I focus on my own stuff or just on other people in order to transform my future? It's your stuff first, then other people's, and not the other way around. You've got to make yourself a priority because the question and the content is all about you. So if you're like, well, I'm not even in the picture, then you're missing this opportunity. So that's what I get for you here during this full moon in Taurus, partial lunar eclipse on the 28th of October. I hope it gives you an idea of what you'll be working with. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. The same way you see this chart for the eclipse, I draw up your birth chart by taking your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. And then I draw up a wheel just like this one and I analyze it and see what it says about your life purpose, strengths, weaknesses, relationships, income, spirituality, anything really. And I put the progress chart and the transits around it to see what's coming up in future. I also use the cards as I go. By the way, if you don't have your time of birth, then order a chart rectification with me, please. That's a process where I work out your time of birth, and that's important because the chart changes every 4 minutes. Then the other thing is, someone asked me yesterday if I still do the daily tarot readings. Absolutely, I still do the daily tarot readings on this YouTube channel. But because of changes and because I want to keep doing it and also have it be worth my time, I have made those available to members of this channel. So first and foremost, thank you to everyone who's become a member. The support really is life-changing to me. So thank you so much. And if you would like to see the daily tarot readings, they are still being made daily. Please do consider becoming a member of this channel. It really helps me in my everyday work and life. And yeah, if you miss the readings, they're still there. So please consider becoming a member. It would really help me. I hope this gives you an idea of what you'll be working with during the eclipse. Have a wonderful time. And I'll speak to you soon. Check out some of my other videos, the daily tarot that I just mentioned by the memberships, then also the weekly horoscopes and the monthly horoscopes for each specific sign of the zodiac, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, and so on. So there's lots to look at. If you're interested in any of those things, please check out the other videos. Have a wonderful time here during this eclipse, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.